Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chit Chat Takeout. I'm your host ZenPho, and I'm here with Miss Meg.
Hi.
Um, for those of you who missed or who didn't watch our last episode, Meg went on a Disney rant in a new format that we're trying. This week, it's going to be my turn to go on a rant about something. But before we do that,
I got
Meg,
s-
yeah,
I got some stuff to retract. I got a lot of stuff to I realized never said what we were eating last week,
eh, that's true.
and we didn't, and we haven't done it this week. So we're going to talk about this week. I have chalupa. I'm very happy. I'm a very happy person right now.
I got a quesadilla.
And then
Last week was Amados.
Amados, and I have meat stuffers, and that was pretty delicious actually.
I had a buffalo chicken wrap. Did I have something else? Oh, the mozzarella
The
sticks. I got
mozzarella
mozzarella
sticks,
sticks. They
and I
still
had
have the best mozzarella sticks around.
the string pole is
That's exactly the thing.
mwah.
They know how to make them. So many places make mozzarella sticks, but they cook them too fast,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what the issue is. They need to turn down the heat in their fryer, let them cook slowly over time, get that nice crisp on the outside, and then the strings just got melt on the inside. But I digress. So, what is it that you want to correct about last week's episode?
So I went on a rant about how their new exclusive Disney has new merchandise coming out and usually sells very quickly, so they implemented that lottery system. I was under the impression that it was a paid system that you had to do. It is not a paid system, it's a free system that you can get into. You're just not guaranteed the merchandise that you're
Well,
lotterying into.
okay, that part makes sense.
Right.
So that I feel kind of bad now for calling out Disney along
Yeah.
with you then, because yeah, that makes more sense if you're limited on the merchandise, having a lottery for it, like just a free lottery for if you want to pay for if you want to buy it. Since it's not paid Disney, I'll apologize for this one. I still don't like you, but I'll apologize for this one.
So that's what I had to pretty much retract because yeah, I next time I go on a rant, I promise to do a little bit more research before I go on my rant. But everything I said about, I wish there was more Kingdom Hearts merchandise. I wish they would do something about their video game lineup, and the other thing of get your shit together of getting your merchandise available for everybody because some of the stuff I can't get right now because it's not online. But that was last week's episode. I am not gonna rant anymore. ZenPho,
Well, this
here's
means we have to go back a couple episodes too and apologize because we did mention how we did thorough research on our topics before
yes,
we did them. So
yes. This
we
last
had a little shortfall there, but
right,
from this point forward, we are going to do
right.
full research on everything before it comes onto the
Previously, we
show.
were looking up news articles and then reporting on the news articles as
Which
we went.
we might still do again.
Right,
That's still up in the air. This is just a new format that we're trying with this one.
right. But last week was a total rant that I had on Disney. With little to no research, I think I did like a few things, but and I want to say all those photos that if you watch on YouTube, those are actually the photos that I took at Disney in 2018 on my first trip. And yes, that is me standing next to Stitch, smiling and giggly because that was my first character greeting meet.
I love how you say if you watch it on YouTube. There is no place else to watch unless you go to our website. But
Well, you
even our
never
webs
know.
even our website links you to the YouTube videos. So
You never know. Someday in the future, if we can get our act together, maybe we could put this on, you know, great old Spotify or Apple Music or whatever that iTunes, whatever that one is. We're
yes,
Apple.
it's a yes to both from my
Okay.
understanding. Apple Music is the new iTunes, but iTunes still exists because they made their
Okay.
entire platform run on it.
So someday we can be on one of those platforms and maybe we'll put out some old videos. We never know what's gonna happen. This is just a test environment, and
Or
we're
maybe ZenPho's alternate persona will get his act together and actually do some programming, like he's been, like get back into it and just make his own app. He's been planning to do that for a while, but I haven't let him. So
all right. Well, I think that's all I had to do. I have to apologize to my Disney Lord and Savior.
I keep Mickey upside down.
And ZenPho, it's your time to rant.
Right. My rant is a little less directed than Meg's was last week. And now, working in IT, I'm used to dealing with people that don't know a lot about computers. Like they're not tech savvy people. This is a given. It's why I have a job pretty much. Um,
And I'm
but
right there with ZenPho. We work in the same department, so we both get the same lovely calls.
my issue for this one stems from I got a phone call when I wasn't working the other day from a relative of mine who was having computer issues, which this isn't uncommon. I get those kind of calls all the time. The resident IT guy for my family. Their issue was they couldn't turn on their laptop. Not that the laptop wouldn't turn on. They didn't know they had to lift the lid and hit the power button to turn on their laptop.
Oh
They thought it
my.
just worked. And that's where my rant's coming in. I mean, to an extent, I understand the older generations, people who are in their 70s, 80s, 90s, not having a firm grasp on computers. They weren't in one of the generations that needed them for their job. They weren't a thing when they were growing up. But the person who called me is not in their 70s, 80s, 90s. She's in her 40s. She grew up with computers. She knows computers. Like, she should understand how to use one. There is no excuse why she shouldn't. They had computers when she was in school, and while it wasn't as prevalent as when me or Meg were in school, they still had them. They had computer labs. Word existed back then. Like, Windows was a thing. Macs were, no, Macs might not have been a thing when she was in school. But the point is, she should understand them. Not to mention that she used one until she left her job to become a stay-at-home parent. But until she did that, her job required her to use a computer. She worked analytics for a packaging company. You would think she knew how to turn on a computer. And the point I'm trying to make with this, everyone should understand, at least now, anybody going into the workforce, anybody going through school, should know the basics of how a computer works. I'm not saying need to know how to build a .NET framework. You don't need to know how to use the command line. You don't need to know how to use PowerShell. You don't even need to know how to be fluent with a terminal and a Linux operating system. But you should understand the basics of your computer turns on with the power button. Your computer needs to be plugged in. Your laptop may need to be plugged in because it needs to charge. Lost track of how many times I've gotten that call at work.
Too many
Yep.
times.
I'm at home and my laptop's not turning on. Did you plug it in? I didn't think of that. And 99% of the time, that solves the issue. You should know how, once you're in the computer, how to navigate it. You don't need to know how to get into all the settings. You don't need to know how to tweak things, but you should know how to find your email. You should know how to find your word processor. You should know how to find your internet browser. You should know how to download an internet browser should you need one. You should know how to download like programs that you need. And
Careful with that one.
programs that you need. I
Yes.
was very specific on
Okay.
that one. You should also know how to tell if an email is like an email or
An
an
ad
ad
or
or that's a big one. You should know how to tell the difference between an ad and something that's real. And you should be able to tell if an email is a scam or spam or phishing email or whatever it might be. But the unfortunate part is that nobody, like, it seems more and more people are forgetting how to do this stuff or not learning how to do this stuff, not bothering to figure it out. And just to put it out there, if you are one of these people, there are classes available. In fact, me and Meg were talking about this earlier, starting our own class. Like, I would love to be able to do something to just, for the people we work or that we do IT for, just like short presentations on how they're, well, that was very rude, Meg. Just short presentations so they know um, the basics of how their computer works. And again, they don't need to know how to take it apart or how to swap out their RAM, hard drive, coolant fans. Like that's my job. Let me do that. Let me take care of that stuff because I know what I'm doing. But like a car, everyone should know how to check their tire pressure, check their oil, and everyone should know how to change a tire if it goes flat.
the thing is, with cars especially, some people don't know how to do that because they just think having a car is a right and not a privilege. And I think that comes to also having a computer. A lot of people think it's a right, not a privilege. Um, I also have this issue. I am the resident IT person on some sides of my family, and I am constantly asked, questions on, but usually I don't have that as bad as ZenPho. I don't have asking how to turn on the computer. Usually it's the issues of do I need what was the one that my relative sent me the other week? Oh, do I need a spam not spam antivirus? That's what she asked. And
If you have to ask, the answer is yes.
so she had gotten some information by the Best Buy guy, um, saying, you have this subscription for so many months, and she was wondering, do I really have to spend the money for the spamware? And I said to her, I said, depending on what you're doing, there are free options out there, and I do think that some antiviruses are scams because they make it sound like some dangerous issue when it in reality there are free options out there for people.
And even the free ones, though, will try to scare you into
Mm-hmm.
upgrading. And my background in IT is actually information security. That's
Minus cybersecurity.
right. Well, that's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same
Those are the same things, just two different, yeah,
terminology.
just two different names for what we do. And I hear that one a lot. And yes, ha having antivirus software or anything like that is a good idea. But like Meg said, you can get the free version. AVG is a prime example. Get the free version.
Not sponsored.
That's true. We're not sponsored. This is just my personal preference. If you get the free version, it will do exactly what it's supposed to. It will scan your computer, anything that shouldn't be there, it will quarantine and remove. but you will get pop-ups from it, like in the notifications bar on your machine or like things like that. They'll say this isn't protected. Like my favorite one is their hardware,
Even
AVG's hardware notification. Your hardware is not protected. Upgrade, blah blah, and ignore those when they pop up. It is a scare tactic to try to get you to pay for the full subscription, and it's not necessary. Just a base antivirus is all you really need. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest here. My main machine, the one we're recording on right now, I don't use antivirus on it.
same.
But
And
I also don't do anything on this machine itself that would require me to have it. I don't download things. I don't surf the web, or I don't surf websites I don't know already. I have, for if I do anything cybersecurity related, any testing or anything like that, I have virtual machines that I use. I have another computer that I use with the virtual machines connected to it. So I don't need to worry about, you know, my main machine being infected. Like even my email, if somebody sends me an attachment, 9 times out of 10, I look on my phone before I look on my computer to see it. So it's not, you don't necessarily need one, but they're always good to have. As long as you're careful with what you're doing, you're paying attention, you're not randomly clicking around a website, and you're not going to. Here's the fun one. Have you ever heard, the joke where people say, "Oh, you got a virus. What porn site were you on?"
yes.
Here's a fun fact. You are more likely to get a virus from a religious website than you are a porn website
Hmm.
because porn websites are heavily moderated. Their revenue is based on your traffic flow. They want you to keep coming back. They want you to watch more of those videos. And if they start giving people viruses, people aren't going to go to their site anymore. They're going to fall. Whereas religious sites have such little money for their upkeep, for their maintenance, that they're usually running out of date software or out of date code in the background of the server that it's on. That leaves it vulnerable to other people coming in and installing, you know, uh, trackers or adding malicious code to for a download or whatever they do for it.
And so with the statement of AVG or any of those free ones coming up with pop-ups,
McAfee also has a free one too.
yeah. Um, I always see, oh, you've been tracked on this many sites. It, a lot of people are scared because they think that Facebook is, but some of these social media groups are stealing their information for malicious things. That is not the case. Like,
Every website you visit will know your IP
mm-hmm,
address. It has to, yeah, unless you run the VPN. But even then, it will know your VPN. So you're shit out of luck there if you
what's the point at that
right.
of
Again,
worrying about that?
that point, like that's something you most normal people don't need. Again, I use a VPN for some of the stuff I do, for a lot of the stuff I do, but that's I have reasons for it that most normal people don't. Most people don't need to hide their identity. Yes, Facebook is taking your IP address and it's monitoring, and they're in a lawsuit right now because they're monitoring your browsing habits from that, which I agree should be illegal. It should be
Right.
very, very freaking
The
illegal.
the biggest one is the WhatsApp right now.
Well, that's Google.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
Google? I always
Google,
thought that was
or not
Facebook.
Google, sorry, Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah, Facebook owns WhatsApp. So,
Yeah, it's their biggest issue. A lot of people are
right. And
saying
even then, WhatsApp, like, I started using Signal, which is, I talked about in another
podcasts.
podcast or another episode. And just to try it out for a little while. And I did a little research on it and found out WhatsApp actually uses the same encryption. The only difference is it doesn't track what you send. Like it doesn't track who you're communicating. There's no backup of messages or anything, which
I
I
think that
don't.
was why a lot of people are using it. And then I mostly hear it from like tech reviewers who are constantly switching out phones every, week or 2 months, whatever it is, that they're getting a new phone because they have to review it. They need to transfer their text messages to the next phone, to the next phone, to the next phone.
Right, and that can be an issue for them. But the underlying thing for like what it comes down to for me is I haven't stopped using Facebook. I mean, I don't use it constantly anyway, but it's there. I have a few people that message me on Facebook. That's the only way we can get a hold of each other. And yeah, I'm not worried about Facebook knowing what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything that could jeopardize me in any way.
Does Facebook want my Disney pictures?
Or,
Go right ahead.
oh, Google already has them. So
Right. Google. I have all my photos on the drive. I
not
just
just that, you gave them to me to put in the last
right.
episode. So
No.
no, Google has them too
Oh well.
because YouTube's owned by Google.
It doesn't matter. They're on the web.
Yep, track. Or they,
No,
as far as I know, as of this podcast being aired.
but I'm just saying I posted it to our
It,
program that we use.
so, but I mean, what are you worried about? Are you worried about Facebook knowing what kind of porn you watch? Who cares? Nobody cares if you're watching. Again, as somebody who works in IT, I can see your browsing history. Do you know what I don't care about? Your fucking browsing history. As long as you weren't trying to download freaking keyloggers or anything, I don't care what you did. I don't care what you're doing. You can be sitting at behind your desk beating your meat as long as that door's locked and you don't have a coworker walking in on you. I don't give a shit. That's your prerogative. Do whatever the hell you want. Because you know what? I watch porn. A lot of people watch porn. Porn is porn. Don't be ashamed of it. I don't necessarily do it at work.
No.
That's a good way to get a lawsuit. I'm not condoning it, but I'm saying at the end of the day, most people don't care.
Right.
What
And
they care about is what kind of shoes do you like? Because yeah, targeting advertisements are there, and that's again, you have to learn to ignore them. They're going off your impulse habits, just like the candy at the checkout of your local grocery store. It's that thing that will catch your attention and make you want to just pick it up. Just ignore them because 90% of the time it's shitty Chinese crap anyway. It's not what the product looks like. So don't buy anything off Facebook. I mean, unless it's through Marketplace, I guess. But even then, don't buy anything off Facebook.
yeah, that's one of the adventures one of my relatives are doing right now, and I'm just like,
Trying to sell on Facebook Marketplace.
no, buy from Marketplace.
So they're buying people's used shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not even good used shit half the
Yeah,
time.
like, well,
Well, I
one
shouldn't.
of them bought a Switch, so like,
I can't say that. I have a buddy who went and he bought a TV and a stand, a wall mount for this TV on Facebook Marketplace. And he got it for $60. This is a 62-inch flat screen TV. The lady who owned it thought was shadowing, like what your TV's doing. So he asked me if there's anything that can be done about it. I went, I looked at it, I turned the brightness up on the TV. It wasn't shadowing. Somebody had just turned down the brightness on. So he got the 62-inch TV, a probably $60 wall mount. Like it's one of those nice pull-out wall mount things that, and yeah, he got it all for $60. Like he could just sell the wall mount again and get his money back for this.
well, I'm just gonna say that's the whole point of our podcast right now. This episode is how to technology
Right.
because
Right. Yeah. Hey, your screen seemed a little dim. Check the brightness. There's usually, well, at least on a computer, there's usually a keyboard setting, and you just do 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 do.
No, no, there's a setting in your menu on your TV.
Well, yeah, there is, but you know, I know too many people that don't even know how to use a computer enough to navigate their TV. Which really, TVs have been around since what, 60s? I think the first TV came out.
If I remember correctly, when one of my relatives got a TV that was a smart TV, she was very scared of it. She was very.
A smart TV?
She didn't understand that. So she had a lot. The only thing she had was a laptop, but she had it wired to her router all the time. She would never take the laptop off, like away from the router.
I mean, you get better bandwidth that way, faster speeds, upload
Right.
and download. I
Which I
wire mine.
understand. Like,
I was
that's
gonna say I
not.
wire mine up. So.
Right. But she didn't understand her router had Wi Fi. So that when she got her smart TV, she was worried that none of the smart features would work on it. I had to explain to her her router was a Wi-Fi router and that it would work perfectly fine and that her Netflix would work. Every single time that like Netflix started not working, she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, go check your router. Maybe it's the router.
Most or at least routers you get from your ISP or internet service provider, for those who don't know, have Wi-Fi built into it. It's a given. Just about any laptop you have, every or any device you buy, such as a phone or a tablet, are all Wi-Fi compatible. Yes, your laptop, like I said, I plug my laptop in sometimes just because I like the increased speed. I do a lot of gaming on my laptop, so.
That's the same with my PS4. I mean, my PS4 is perfectly fine on Wi-Fi, but I want those 100 megs going through. Get me that.
Oh, that's another thing people should know. You might be paying for 100 megs. There's a good chance you're only going to be pulling about 70.
Yeah, and that's because your Wi-Fi. Listen to them.
No, even wired,
Yeah,
you're not going to pull
yeah,
the
you're
full
right about
100
that.
usually. You might in a short test, but if you do a
In the long
long-term
test,
download
yeah.
test, it's not going to be pulling the 100.
Yeah.
It's going to drop down because you're actually sharing a connection throughout everybody else who uses that ISP. That's a whole different topic, not a 101 video like we were talking about before. That's a more going to the more advanced networking stage at that point.
All I can think is that video that we watched, or the one I sent you a couple days ago of the wire cage.
Oh,
I'll
the
put it.
Faraday cage.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, put your router in a Faraday cage. Why? What? Yeah, people, you don't
yeah.
need a
We're not gonna go down that road because
you
there's a
don't
lot of
need a you don't need a Faraday cage.
there's a lot of conspiracies and misinformation about that right now, and
Well, it's like the people with the 5G. Oh, it's doing
yeah,
causing
that's
cancer. No, it's not.
that's under the same category. It's like no,
I
no,
mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problem going down that rabbit hole, but that's probably for another
yeah, that's for
episode.
another episode. Um, because we could do a whole episode of conspiracy theories.
I could do a whole episode on why people are idiots thinking 5G's out to get them.
All right, back to your back to your original rant
Well, my
about.
original rant was just, if you don't know how to use a computer, learn. Like
Yeah,
I said, it's not hard.
and we're not
And we might
saying.
actually, I might actually, whether it's on this channel or my personal one or just another channel that I create, I might actually do that, or
We're
we
not.
might actually do that, just because it would be helpful to some people. And I get not everyone had the opportunity to learn. People grew up different environments, but as an adult in the working world, you should know the basics of how a computer works, especially in this day and age, especially now most people are working remotely. It's something you should at least consider learning, something you should attempt to understand.
We're not saying stop using technology. Like the unfortunate part of using in our day and age is technology is kind of a kind of a necessity.
Right. Don't stop using it. Like technology is my
Right,
world. Like there's a reason I got into doing what I
right,
do. But again, going back to, just the basics of checking your oil, checking your lights in your car. And I'm not saying you have to learn how to fix those things either. Just knowing how to do it so you know when it needs to be fixed or when somebody should, with more experience, a professional should take a look at it and diagnose the issue for
right.
you.
And
And when you can save yourself $50 by just doing it yourself.
right. And I think that we're also making a point that yes, we're IT people, but that doesn't make we work in customer service and in technology. We understand there are just some people that don't entirely get it entirely when we get a little tech savvy. But
But at the same time, we're not teachers,
right,
or not inherently like. I mean, if I'm going to teach someone, I have to sit down and think about how I'm going to do it. My improv, freaking cat.
sorry,
My
my cat decided to run across the table.
my improv when it comes to at least that kind of stuff isn't there. Like I even right now I'm struggling. I was struggling to kind of dumb some of the things down that I was thinking
Right.
because I'm used to talking with people that have a higher understanding of it. And that's not to say everybody should have that higher understanding. Like it's not.
No, we don't
Yeah.
expect everybody to have
No, it's
2 to 4 years of college for it. Like we're not saying that at all.
right. I'm not expecting everyone to have their A plus certifications, Security Plus, your Cisco certification. I'm not saying that at all. And I understand, like, it's not other people's issue. It's my shortcoming
Right.
that I'm not able to
And
explain it as well to less tech savvy people.
and granted, we do have people that we work with that that do not have a degree or didn't work for a degree because I can't say a whole lot. In technology, they're inherently good at technology. I mean, we have somebody who's close to the retiring age right now who he's
It's
pretty
so with technology.
yeah yeah he but he's definitely somebody who is willing to learn too. Like if you teach him a new thing, he's willing to learn.
He is really good with older systems, and
Mhm.
it's the newer ones coming out. He's having a harder time keeping it up.
Yeah.
But as far as like the basics of it goes, like if you like have a brain fart or something, he'll be able to fill you in a
Right.
couple seconds. Like,
And if he doesn't know it, he knows where to find it.
right, nine. He'll do what all of us do, and we don't know. Google,
Google it.
Google, Google, and IT is your best friend.
Right.
Did you think those error codes that show up on your computer, we actually know what those mean? No. 90% of the time, they don't actually mean shit.
I had to look up something in Google the other day for um for an Outlook question because I had no
Oh,
idea.
I do it all the time. Someone
Yeah.
calls me about Skype or Outlook. I ain't got a freaking clue.
Right.
Especially if you're using 365. I'm used to 2016.
Mhm.
When you get into 365, even like I have 365 that I use, I'm still not fluent with it. Like I have to, for myself, Google stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for. I think I've said everything that I need to say.
No, you did pretty
Um,
good on that.
like I said, something I'll definitely be thinking about is doing the 101 videos, but I don't know. That might not be for a long time. That might never happen. It might not even be part of this. So
Right. Uh, it's just another project that we have in our heads. We got a few kind of
I always,
rolling
I,
around.
I always have new projects
Yeah.
coming into my head. Like I said, that's where the programming kind of died for me.
We
Was
might be going down the realm of gaming. Just a little sneak peek of that.
right, and it wouldn't be, or at least not right off. Probably wouldn't be a weekly thing, but
No, we're kind of we're gonna mess around with it.
we're gonna be that. Like we said when we started, that's the whole point of this
Hmm.
channel is to try different things, experiment, see what we like, what we don't like, and I've actually, Meg doesn't know this yet, but when we first met, she had Under the Sea set as my ringtone on her phone.
Still do.
And I came up with a little song for in the rhythm of Under the Sea called Under the Tree, which was nothing like the
Just had a tune of it,
yeah, it
nothing else.
had the tune. It was a lot meaner than Under the Sea was. And I have written more of that song. So maybe at some point I'll be actually
Oh, that'd be
recording that.
great. That'd
I'll
be
actually record
awesome.
that. Maybe I'll do a little animation for it. But well, we'll see how
Under the
that one goes.
tree.
Um, I
I
think.
only know the chorus.
Oh no, you don't. I changed the
Oh,
chorus.
jeez.
I didn't realize how long the chorus to Under the Sea actually was, so I had to add some more stuff to it.
That's the beauty of Disney songs. You can. They're pretty ironic. Pretty
Iconic.
iconic.
Mhm.
Thank you. Um, of that you can change around the lyrics and
Uh,
come up with something new.
well, that's how my mind works too. Even just driving, listen to the songs I like. I will hear just a word or something, and I'm like, I can change that to this, and I'll start doing all. So yeah, there might be another version or that song actually coming out at some point.
Right. And like I said, we we got some projects that we're sleeving that we're thinking of and whatnot. So
So stay tuned and tell your friends, tell your
yes,
friends to watch out.
like, subscribe,
Uh,
comment.
yeah, feel free to comment.
Yeah,
Unlike it if you like it, I suppose. I mean, do it.
dislike it if you don't.
Yeah, definitely. And if, if you do dislike it, then you hit the dislike button. Tell us why.
Right.
Tell us what it is you don't like. If maybe you don't like my stupid face. That's cool too.
Don't even seriously.
I know, but it's still okay to let
The only
this.
face they seen is mine.
Right? They'll never see my face. So.
No, we'll make sure that I'll put a mask over your face if I have
Oh,
to.
oh, I've already thought about that one. The don't. Yeah. All right. So, do you have anything else you want to add, or?
No, I think you did a good job with this. I think it's good explanation of, you know, just kind of if you don't know technology, just take the time to learn it.
And maybe stay tuned for the 101 video set. Who knows? Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week.